Hey, Dr. J here with another episode of Janine's Justifiable. And this is the third part of my series in parenting and parenthood. And of course, I'm going to pick up where I left off about emotional impact that we have on our children as parents. And today I want to talk about the power of words as a parent, right? So I'm going to tell this quick story. My mom already knows I'm going to tell it. When I was about 7 or 8 years old, I was in the kitchen with my mom and my sister, and they were talking about something. I don't know, but I wanted to say something about what they were talking about. And so I made a comment, and my mom looked at me and was like, "That was really stupid. Don't say anything that dumb again." And so it kind of caught me because my mom didn't talk like that to us, right? She didn't talk like that to us. She didn't tear us down at all. She always built us up. But that caught me off guard. And because, like I've mentioned before, I was always a shy and timid child, that comment sat in me and made me even more quiet and timid. And so when I was getting my master's degree, right? I was in my 30s. I was getting my master's degree. And one part of getting your master's in counseling is that you also have to not only just be training to be a counselor, but you have to get counseling yourself. And so while I was getting counseling, a learned behavior popped up. And I told them, I said, well, what I say is dumb. And they were kind of looking at me like, "You really believe that?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." And the counselor said, "Where did that come from? Where did you learn that at?" And so I told them this story, and I've thought about it over the years about how we say stuff to our children. And it doesn't necessarily, sometimes it's intentional, but sometimes it's not intentional. Like I mentioned before about the emotional stability of a parent is that we're going through stuff ourselves, right? That our kids know nothing about. And sometimes what we're going through comes out of us, right? As sometimes insult, right, to somebody else. And so whatever my mom was going through, I caught it that day. But like I said, she was never the type to tear us down. But there is a lot of things that we as parents say. And we can do one or two things with our children, right? We can plant seeds of hope in life, or we can plant seeds of destruction and death. There's a scripture that says that life and death are in the power of the tongue. And that is so crucial because we can really speak life into our children. We can let them know that they are smart, that they are capable, that they are brave, that they are great helpers in the world and the community. And that will build them up, right? Because we are the first ones as parents to plant these seeds in our kids. Or we can speak destruction and death. We can say, "You're ugly and you're stupid, and your daddy wasn't and his daddy wasn't and you ain't gonna be SH," or I've seen, or people, will call their child, "You ain't gonna be nothing but a whore, a nasty whore, and you're gonna be on welfare, and you ain't gonna be cause I ain't right?" And so we can say words to our kids that will linger in them for a long time, or even the whole entirety of their life. We got to be really careful with that, because not only, I was thinking about that scripture about life and death are in the power of the tongue, because not only can you plant and life grows, right? You can plant goodness in your kids, because what we call our kids, right, a lot of times they will become. I have interviewed so many people in the work that I do, right? And I ask them, how did your parents talk to you? Like, what was the type of conversations that took place in your house? And they will tell me, my mom said I was black or ugly, or I was going to be a whore, or I wasn't going to be shit. I was going to jail, because that ran in my family. And they have planted these seeds in these kids, and it manifests. Because if you plant a seed and the more you water it, either with positivity or negativity, it will grow. It will grow. And the thing about the death part, about that scripture, life and death are in the power of the tongue, it's not talking about a figurative death, right? It might be, but a lot of times it can be an actual death, right? Where a child hears this so much, right? They become desensitized to it, and they can become homicidal or suicidal, right? Because they're saying, well, my mom said she wished she would have had abortion with me anyway, and they just think their life is worthless, right? And now these thoughts of suicide or homicide are on their brain, right? They're out here just catching bodies. They catching bodies. I've interviewed so many people, and they have told me, like, I wasn't going to be nothing anyway. Right? Because that seed was planted in them, and it grew. Because they heard it day in and day out. Day in and day out. So we have to be very careful about how we plant seeds in our kids. Right? We got to be careful. We got to know our own stuff that's going on. That we're spewing stuff out, and it's landed on them. We got to be very careful. We got to be very careful not to plant death in our kids. You love them, plant life. Tell them they are great. They can be whatever they want. They are loved. We're glad. I tell my daughter, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad God gave you to me. Because you're smart. You're helpful. You can do anything you want. So please, 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 plant life in your kids. Don't plant death. Because it will grow, whatever you plant. And I'll see you on the next go round.